Hello aspirants, welcome to the Law Wednesday series. In this series, we are going to discuss today a very important topic which is manual scavenging in India. So let's see what is happening in this regard and what are the different rules, regulation, constitutional safeguards and so forth and so on. Let's get started. Now, why this is in news recently? Because of the judgment came from the Supreme Court on 20th October, in which the court has issued a categorical direction to the union government and the state government, seeking a response that why manual scavenging has not yet been stopped. So this is one of the very crucial area where we had been facing a lot of challenges because this is directly related to the gross violation of the human rights. As we all know, we have made Constitution of India which ensures every citizen a basic fundamental right, in which this manual scavenging directly violates the few of the important fundamental rights which we will see in the further video. So in this judgment, the Supreme Court has sought response from the government, and the court has also noted very important point that manual scavenging has been officially banned by the legislations came out in 1993. As you can see in the screen, that employment of manual scavengers and the construction of dry latrines Prohibition Act 1993, and along with it there was another act which had been passed almost 15-16 years later, that is Prohibition of the Employment as Manual Scavengers and their Rehabilitation Act 2013. Despite having prominent two legislation in this respect, along with the constitutional safeguards, it is a very saddening situation that we are still not able to stop the manual scavenging. So this was the concern of the Supreme Court, in which they have expressed their regard and they have sought the responses from both the central and state government. To which the government has responded with the data, in which they have told how many deaths have taken place in the previous years. So in 2023 there were just 9 deaths, 2022 66, 21 58, 2020 22, 2019 117 and 2018 57. So this was the data of last 6 years on which how many deaths have recorded. However, different media reports claim that the government data is not actually correct and there are more deaths than being recorded. So this is a major concern that still so many deaths are happening, so many injuries are happening, so many health hazards are there with this manual scavenging. So that is why it is a very high time court is expressing that we need to stop this and we need a proper legislative intervention from the side of the government. Now we will dive deep into what manual scavenging is, why this is a major concern for us. Manual scavenging refers to the manual cleaning of the human excreta, which is from dry latrines and the open drains, and this is usually done by the people or the individuals who are coming from the marginalized or the oppressed community. So as we know that the profession is not so enriched, because of which in this specific area nobody else enters. And as we have seen a long history of discrimination amongst caste and communities in our society in India, oftentimes only this marginalized or the low class community has been selected to do or perform this task. Now, what are the different challenges involved in this? Challenges are that there is as I already mentioned a minute before, that there is a direct violation of the human rights, there are severe health risk involved, there are discrimination, and there is inhumane working condition. They are not being provided with the safety gears or any other important equipment which is required, and because of which multiple deaths have taken place. So this is a basic meaning of manual scavenging and the people involved in it. Now we will come to the constitutional safeguard. Our Constitution of India has been made or enforced in 26 January 1950, after which it has been said that all the citizens of India, irrespective of the caste, creed, gender, race, nationality, place of birth, we will not do any kind of discrimination. And the idea was very noble behind it, that now we have gained an independence and now we have to leave that mentality behind and we have to treat everyone equally despite their social and economic status. So this was the concern, because of which we have formed a very important fundamental right which is often quoted as heart of the constitution. So Article 14 says that there will be equality, and when we say equality, there are two aspects to the equality. One is equality before law and another is equal protection of law. So it means that all the citizens are equal in the eyes of law, whether it is prime minister or a normal citizen. And when it comes to the equal protection of the law, different measures have to be taken by the government so that all the citizens are placed under a same umbrella. Article 17 says that there shall be no untouchability and all sorts of discrimination on this basis shall be rejected. And this is one of the very hitting criteria for us in this topic, because untouchability is a tool which has been used against the manual scavengers. All those individuals who are involved in the manual scavenging are not considered fit to be a part of the normal society. So this is one of the major violation of the constitutional right under Article 17. And then comes the Article 21, which is right to life and liberty. This is in relation to the health hazards which have been faced by the manual scavengers in this whole process, because they are also a citizen and they are also entitled to a decent living standard, which includes a proper health care which is not being given to them. Article 23, it talks about the prohibition of the human trafficking and the forced labors. Now, why forced labor? Because the community is driven in such a way that the members of the society are forced to take this job because they have no other option. As I mentioned, that from time immemorial, from ages, we had been discriminating against this society. So it is a past 150 years of practice in our country that we had been discriminating amongst the different castes and different classes of the society, because of which till date in the year 2023, there had been instances where we had been practicing the untouchability, we had been discriminating people on the basis of their caste. And that is why the concept of forced labor comes over here, because these categories of people have been forced to take up this job because no other job is available to them because of their caste background. So this is a very significant violation of the fundamental right protected under Article 23, and it raises a significant question that who will protect the right? Are these people not the citizens of the country? Our Supreme Court is not bound to protect these people from getting their fundamental right violated. So these are the significant questions which had been posed before the Supreme Court of India, and that is why they have given this directives and sought responses from the central and the state governments. Now, it is also important to refer to a very landmark case of Supreme Court of 2014 in the case of Safai Karamchari Andolan and others versus Union of India. Supreme Court has long before said that there has to be a permanent stop to this practice of manual scavenging. As you can see in the screen, that Supreme Court has reinforced that there has to be a prohibition and there has to be proper rehabilitation and proper skill development need to be given to these people who are involved in the manual scavenging. And now the principle behind this activity is justice and transformation. So one of the important concept out here is transformation. Yes, we accept the fact that there had been a history of discrimination, but what we want right now is transformation. So that is why Supreme Court had said before that there has to be a principle of justice and transformation with which these people can come up to the normal level of the society. Now, what are the significant reasons because of which the manual scavenging is still going on? One of the prominent reason is insufficient sewage management system. Still, our country is lacking in the terms of technological advancement, because of which we are somehow forced to take the manual scavenging. And we do not have the latest equipments, machines, and different industrial safeguard to undertake this activity. So this is one of the area where we need a significant development. We need a proper budget allocation with which we can improve on this area and save the fundamental rights of the citizens. Second is, as I time and again repeated, that there is a caste-based social hierarchy because of which the specific caste people have to take up the job. And last is lack of alternative livelihood opportunity. So as I was mentioning under the Article 23 that they have been forced to take up this job because they have no other opportunity, they have no other means to sustain their life. So one person is forced to take up this job as a part of daily sustenance, as a part of a livelihood. So this is a very saddening situation that this condition has been enforced upon them to take up as a means of the livelihood. Now, what are the different effects? The major effect is the health hazards, that they enter into such a bad situation, they enter into such a bad environment because of which they attract a lot of health issues. So that is the concern, and they are not getting any healthcare facility, any healthcare insurance from the side of the government, because of which oftentimes they are succumbed to the death. So this is one of the important reason. Then second, as we are continuously discussing that there is a human rights violation. So one of the prominent effect is that multiple rights have been given to them by the constitution, by the different legislation, and still it is getting violated. So the question comes here is, are these laws really helpful? Are these laws helping the citizens to gain their basic minimum standard of living? So this is a concern where a pertinent right is getting violated. And the last is psychological and emotional trauma. So along with the other physical damages which comes in the form of a health hazards, they also face a psychological and emotional trauma, because the way the society is dealing with them is in itself a problematic situation, and oftentimes they are harassed in the society, oftentimes they are defamed in the society, people treat them badly, they talk to them in a bad words. So all of this are the different issues because of which they are catered to this specific problems. Now, what are the different rehabilitation efforts taken by the government in the last few years? So, payouts and subsidies, the government has come up with an initiative that they will roll out some subsidies, and as per the data, approximately 58,000 scavengers have been identified, and they had been given one-time cash payout of 40,000 rupees. Along with it, 22,000 manual scavengers have been connected to the skill training programs under the different schemes and initiatives of the central government and the state government. Now, there is another important scheme which is called as a Namaste Scheme. Namaste stands for National Action for Mechanized Sanitization Ecosystem. So this is a very important scheme which has been launched by the central government, and the important task of the scheme is to identify and profile all the specific tanks, sewer workers, provision of occupational training, and different safety equipments as per the requirement. So this is the task of the scheme, to profile all of these things and make a necessary arrangement for these issues. Interestingly, in the union budget of 2023-24, the government has decided to allocate nearly 100 crore rupees, which is a massive amount, for this Namaste scheme. And now government is looking forward to enable 100% mechanical desludging of this sewer tanks. So this is one of the ray of hope with which we can expect that government will be taking efforts to improvise the situation of the sanitation workers. Now, lastly, we will also see what are the different international charters and convention with which we can make our position strong in this regard. So there are two important documents. One is Universal Declaration of Human Rights. This has come in 1948 and this includes several principles, like you can see Article 3, 23 and 25. This talks about a general principle which we have adopted in our Indian constitution as well. Like Article 3 talks about the right to life and liberty, which we have incorporated in Article 21. It also talks about right to work and under a just and favorable situation, which is under Article 23, which we have also incorporated in Article 21, and right to adequate standard of living of Article 25 UDHR, which is also there in Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. Along with it, there is International Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination, in which it is very much required that there shall be no discrimination and all sorts of racial discrimination will be eliminated. And interestingly, India is also a signatory to this international document. And yes, under the power given to the Indian government under Article 51 of the Indian Constitution, they have incorporated these provisions in our Indian Constitution, which is we have discussed known as fundamental right. So we believe and we hope that Indian government will must come up with a very strong measures with which we will be able to improvise the situation of the manual scavengers, and they will also come at par with our normal society. So please let us know what is your opinion in this regard. Please drop a comments and we will see you in the next video. Thank you for joining.